Before you record a video to insert into LoggerPro to do video analysis, make sure you're paying attention to these items. The camera must be resting on something stable, tripod, tabletop, etc. And before you ask, can I just hold it? No, you can't. You are not going to hold it stable enough. The motion must be tracking across the screen, perpendicular to the camera. And in order for the computer to be able to determine the scale, that is, how much length on the screen represents how much length in real life, you have to have an object of a known dimension within the frame, visible to the camera. And it should be the same distance away from the camera as the object that you are tracking. The object that you use to set the scale for length could be a meter stick, that's simple, but it can be anything as long as you know what the actual length is. Also, pay attention to the background. You want to be able to have a high contrast between the object you're tracking and what's behind it so you can see it clearly. Once you have recorded your video, it's a pretty good idea to preview it and make sure that it will be suitable before you take the trouble to transfer it to your computer. You want to make sure that the object does not leave the frame, that you can see it the whole time. The next step will be to transfer your video to your computer. You don't want to insert it directly from your phone or camera because then the file will no longer be in the same location as a LoggerPro file. If you save it, you will not be able to go back and edit it. So make sure you transfer it, say, to your desktop or a folder where you keep all your physics work. Once that is done, open up LoggerPro, and in order to insert the movie, you need to go up to the Insert tab, which is outside of the screen right now. Click Insert Movie. Find your movie, which in this case I placed on the desktop, and I have a video called Test Video Down Only. I'll insert that one. I can move this around to put it well within the screen, and I have some play controls right down here. I can play, stop, or advance. This is my video. Sometimes it will seem like it's not playing smoothly, but that's okay. We're more interested in seeing it frame by frame. I have a slider bar here that I can move to particular parts of the video. It's usually a good idea to go drag that right to about the point where the motion is going to start happening. These buttons here allow me to control frame by frame. So in this case, I want to start my motion at the instant the ball leaves contact with somebody's hand. Looks like about there. I want to make sure I set the scale on this. The video control button right here is at the bottom right. And that opens up these buttons here, which allow you to do many different things. There are two different buttons that look like they have a ruler. This is the one you will want for setting the scale. If you mouse over, it'll tell you what it does. I've set scale or photo distance. Right now I want to set the scale using the meter stick that I placed the same distance from the camera as the ball, or pretty close to it. It will default to 1 meter, but you can enter whatever you need. Say I did not happen to remember to put a meter stick in there, I could use the length of the track or the height of the stand or anything like that. I'll click OK. And I also want to set the origin. So I look for the thing that looks like origins and axes, and if I mouse over, I can see I'm on the right place. And I could set it right where the ball is starting, or you might want to set it at the bottom of the track. And right now, our track is not moving horizontal or vertical, but this would be a lot easier to analyze if I keep it in one dimension. So looking at the little yellow dot right here, that allows me to rotate my axis. The yellow dot is on the positive side of the x-axis. You can rotate these however you like, but you should know that this is the positive x-axis, and this would be the positive y-axis here. If I rotate that around, I can change the direction of the x-axis, but in doing so, I'm also changing the y-axis. For me, it makes sense to keep this right here parallel to the track. Then I'm ready to add data points. So to add points, I'm going to click on the red button here, And I'll choose somewhere on the object that I'm tracking. Either the center is usually a good idea or a leading edge. I'll just go with the center. When I click, it adds a dot and it advances the video one frame. This part can be a little tedious. Yes, there's a lot of dots, but do your best to get them in the center and be consistent. I'll skip a bit. I've now added all of the data points for the ball rolling down the ramp. Don't forget this, after you're done adding data points, click up here on the cursor button so that if you click anywhere else on the screen, you don't accidentally add some data points. If you should happen to add a data point that you did not mean to, you can select it by clicking on the point itself. And it should be selected, and that does not seem to be working right now. Suppose I happen to have a spurious data point. I accidentally put one here, and I certainly don't want that messing up my data, so I'll select the pointer tool. It can be hard to select these. You have to try several times, but you should see it clearly outlined like such, and then you can just push your delete key and it doesn't work. It should work to push the delete key, but I found actually the backspace key worked and that data point is gone. Again, I'm going to make sure I'm on the cursor pointer there and not adding points. Now if I move my video, I can see that behind it a graph has appeared with position and time for both the X and the Y axes. I can change what appears on the X and Y axis by clicking on the axis label itself. Maybe I want to show only the X motion. I could do that, or I could show only the Y motion. Or if I wish to have a combination of those, I can select more and choose all of the items that I would like. Looking at my graphs now, and I might realize I want to go back and look at the video to see something, or maybe I need to change something. Perhaps I forgot to set the origin and I need to adjust that. And you're thinking, where is the video? It is hiding behind the graph. So if you move the graph off to one side, then you can click back on the video and you'll be able to see it.